ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Michelle Smallman alongside Chris Canty. And Canty, we talk about the Dallas Cowboys almost every single day here. And we talk about Dak Prescott almost every single day here because this is a franchise with a lot of expectations that is facing a lot of pressure. But after the Cowboys went out and traded for quarterback Trey Lance, it seems like Dak Prescott's future has become more of a topic. He's facing a $59 million cap charge in 2024. The Cowboys are with Dak Prescott. So they have to find out about him now. His future is certainly in a question. And so I want to pose this question to you. If for whatever reason, Dak Prescott isn't the Cowboys quarterback in 2024, if they decide to move on from him, who do you think is a good option for them?
I think you have to look at Kyler Murray, right? Everybody's assuming that the Arizona Cardinals are tanking to get the #1 overall pick, especially after they cut veteran backup quarterback Colt McCoy, and they're making the decision to roll with either Josh Dobbs or Clayton Tune. So it just feels like the Cardinals are setting up for a strategic tank in order to get one of those top draft choices, if not the top draft choice, and presumably taking a quarterback. If that ends up being their course of action, then Kyler Murray is going to be made available. The Cowboys seem like that would be a decent fit. I get it. Kyler Murray has his issues. People question his work ethic, his ability to break down tape, and his willingness to actually devote the kind of time that it takes to be a successful quarterback in this league. But this is a young quarterback that was taken with the first overall pick, has a ton of talent, and is, 4 years younger than Dak Prescott? So I could see Jerry Jones and the Cowboys brass talking themselves into Kyler Murray being an option for them if they don't want to pay Dak Prescott what he's going to be asking for. Remember, the signing bonus for Kyler Murray is already paid out by the Arizona Cardinals. That's not something that the Cowboys would be on the hook for. They would just be on the hook for their salary, for his salary, and he's making around $47 million a year. So if that is more palatable than whatever Dak Prescott is asking for in his next contract extension, then that seems like it would be a solid alternative to keep the Cowboys competitive in this championship window that they've been able to put together. But so much of the conversation we have,
Canty, is Dak Prescott a quarterback that can win you a Super Bowl? And do you really think that Kyler Murray is an upgrade over Dak? Because Jerry Jones has made no bones about it. He feels like this is a Super Bowl contending team and that the window is now. Jerry's desperate to win. He's not getting any younger. We're constantly talking about Dak and Mike McCarthy being on the hot seat. So do you really think that they're going to view Kyler Murray, who is a guy who's had injury questions and has questions about if he's really the guy? Do you think that they will really feel like he is a clear upgrade or that he's a guy that can win them a Super Bowl?
Well, Dak is going into his 8th season, right? Kyler Murray is going into his 5th, so Dak has had more opportunities to get his team to the championship rounds and I guess presumably more failures. With Kyler Murray, I think you have to kind of wait and see in terms of what he can develop into. I mean, Dak is in the heart of his prime right now. Kyler Murray is still an ascending player, and I don't think anybody would look at those two and say they're on the same level in terms of overall talent. Kyler Murray was the first overall pick. Dak Prescott was the 4th round pick of the Dallas Cowboys. So, I mean, Kyler Murray was viewed by NFL evaluators as a better prospect, a better talent. I think today Kyler Murray is a more talented player than Dak Prescott. I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm saying he's more talented. And it feels like if Dak can't get it done this year, then Jerry is willing to reset to some degree at the position. And I think Kyler Murray would represent an opportunity to do that while still maintaining their level of competitiveness and having an opportunity.
He's Chris Canty. I'm Michelle Smallman. You're listening to Greeny on ESPN Radio, and ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The question is, if for whatever reason Dak Prescott isn't the Cowboys quarterback in 2024, who will be? Canty threw Kyler Murray out on the table. Let's hear from Mike Greenberg, who was on Greeny yesterday, and it was on Greeny yesterday, and he posed another name in this conversation. Here's what Greeny had to say.
The Jets have a young quarterback they drafted very high who has shown himself to be nowhere near ready to play. And they think they have a championship caliber roster. So what do? They go out and they get themselves an aging veteran who might be able to give them 1 or 2 years and a shot at a Super Bowl and maybe mentor the young kid towards being able to play. So what is Jerry Jones perhaps thinking? How about thinking about a Super Bowl winning veteran quarterback who might want to finish his career in his hometown of Dallas, Texas, and mentor a young player in a year or two to being ready to take over the reins. That young player could be Trey Lance. I could easily see a world in which a year from today, Dak Prescott is way better off being the quarterback of Tampa or Minnesota or Denver or someplace where they really want him. And Matthew Stafford is the starting quarterback of his hometown Dallas Cowboys.
That's an interesting proposition, Canty, because you know that Matthew Stafford might not be enamored with his situation in Los Angeles right now. His wife was on a podcast saying he's finding hard ways to connect with some of his young teammates. They clearly are looking towards the future. Matthew Stafford might not be part of that equation. And if they're looking for someone to come in, a guy who's won a Super Bowl, who knows how to do it, he's going to his hometown Dallas Cowboys team, and he could be a mentor to Trey Lance, I kind of like what Greeny's putting down here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's plausible. I mean, you want to talk about hometowns. Kyler Murray grew up 10 minutes away from the Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So both of them are from the Metroplex. But I guess my whole point would be, if you're going to go in that Stafford direction, then you are saying we're going all in on winning a Super Bowl in the next couple of years. And the thing that bothers me or concerns me with Stafford is the health situation. There have been reports out there that his neck isn't quite right. He missed, 8 games last year. No telling how many games he's going to miss this year behind that shaky offensive line the Rams are putting in front of him. So I would be concerned from a health standpoint with Matt Stafford. I get it, he's only 35 years old, but between the beating that he's taken in Detroit and the beating that he took last year, he feels like he's a lot older than that in terms of his overall durability. So I would worry about that. But I mean, listen, at this point, there are no good answers. There is no, okay, this is going to be the silver bullet for this team. The thing that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have to decide is Dak Prescott, whether or not he's worth the money that he's going to be asking for in a contract extension. We know that the status quo is going to be untenable in terms of his deal. Dak Prescott has a $60 million cap hit in 2024. No way the Cowboys are going to let him play under that. So it's either extend him after the season, or you're talking about trading him after the season. I think a lot of that depends on how he plays.
The Cowboys are always under a lot of pressure, Canty, but you could argue that they're never under more pressure than they are right now. We're talking about Mike McCarthy being on the hot seat. They have a decision to make about not only Dak Prescott, but if you look at some of the contracts that are set to expire after this season and after next, outside of maybe Micah Parsons, there's a lot of big names on that list. CeeDee Lamb's on that list. Dak's on that list. They're at a really important crossroads right now with the franchise where they need to determine what their future is going to look like, and they're trying to extend that window. And you can't do it without a quarterback that you feel comfortable with. And I hear everything that you're saying about Matthew Stafford and the injuries, but couldn't you make that same argument about Kyler Murray with the injuries?
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
And that's my point. Like, there is no perfect answer. There is no perfect solution. But you're just thinking to yourself, how many opportunities are we supposed to give Dak before we realize that he's a guy that you can't win a Super Bowl with? I don't want to say that he can't do it, but I will say this, Michelle. You can't ask for a more ideal situation than the Cowboys have teed up for Dak right now. Think about how good that defense is. This Cowboys defense has led the league in takeaways in back-to-back years. The last defense to do that was the 73-74 Steelers, the Steel Curtain. They had 5 Hall of Famers on that defense. They had 3 guys that won Defensive Player of the Year at various points in their career. Like, it can't get, like, you have the skill position players. You got an all-pro receiver in CeeDee Lamb. You got Brandon Cooks. You've got Michael Gallup. You got a second-round pick at the tight end spot that the Cowboys just drafted. You got Tony Pollard, who's on the franchise tag. They drafted dudes for, like, how much more do you have that? You have a Super Bowl winning head coach in Mike McCarthy for whatever you want to make of him. He's won a Super Bowl as a head coach. You have all the elements that you need to have success. Why can't you get this team to the championship rounds? Once upon a time, when Jerry Jones gave Dak Prescott that contract, Dak Prescott, when he got his first contract extension, was the best quarterback in the NFC East. The best quarterback. So if you have the best quarterback in any division, you have a really good chance of winning that division. Can you say the Cowboys have the best quarterback in the division now? No, you can't.
Right.
The Philadelphia Eagles have passed him. Jalen Hurts has passed. And my question is, How much longer do we have to wait for Dak to get it done before we realize this guy might not ever fulfill the promise that they saw in him once upon a time when he supplanted Tony Romo? I don't know, but the one thing that is clear in my mind is that Jerry Jones has started to think about life after Dak Prescott, because that's the only reason why he would make the trade and send a fourth-round pick
He's
to
Chris
San Francisco.
Canty. I'm Michelle
for Trey
Coleman,
Lance.
and you can catch both of us and Evan Cohen on our new morning show starting September 5th, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, weekdays right here on ESPN Radio. Can't wait to get that started. Greenies presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance.